Matt, just the play of Daniel Jacobson down the stretch there. He got 6 points, a big block there when you guys really needed it. For him to step up in that moment, what's that say about him?
Yeah, no, good player. Obviously a young player, learning, getting better. It was probably his best minutes that he's had here. I know we're just starting the season, but, made some nice blocks. And, the thing that he has to improve on is just getting into crowds, catching the ball and being able to finish, catching the ball and being able to pass. More than anything, like being able to take contact and be able to play. He reminds me a lot, even though he's taller, of Juwan Johnson at that age. And a lot of people just think that you just show up and you're just great, right? And it takes time. And he had some tough moments as a freshman, and as a sophomore, he was first team all-league. So I thought he did some good things for us. I thought he did some really good things, and something to build on for him.
Go ahead, Mike.
Along that same line, you've been down this road a lot of times developing big guys, and they're all different, they all have different strengths, but is there some similarity between all of them at this stage when you're trying to get them going in the right direction?
More than anything, I always try to be honest with guys, but try to make them feel good about themselves. But you got to feel good about yourself, you got to be productive. And it's hard to you feel like you're being, you're over scrutinizing them sometimes when they're first starting, because you just want them to learn, you just want them to know. But you got to have a balance in your delivery as a coach, so they feel good about themselves. And a lot of times guys just yell and scream, and maybe that's good for a couple of them, but a lot of them just, they need to know what's going on. And it's no different than like raising your own kids, and when they're little and you tell them what to do and you're like, yep, I got it, Daddy, I got that. And then you're just like, okay, what did I say? And they'll be like, all right, say it again, Daddy. Like, it's the same way, like they're fatigued, they're in a huddle, and you're like, hey man, this is 20-second, this is going quick here on a timeout. Like, this is what we're running, this is what we're doing. You good? Yeah, I'm good. What am I doing? And so you get some of that, right? You get that they all need to play through their mistakes. And I don't have the ability to let them all play through their mistakes, right? When you just have 200 minutes. So you just got to keep working, and the tape doesn't lie, the film doesn't lie. And you got to be honest about things, but you got some game experience where you can watch it and see what they're doing. We had Creighton, who played in a drop, and then these guys, corralled things and hedged things and trapped things. So it was great, because now they had to read it. But we missed free throws. We had shots around the rim that we missed. Like, when we're getting the ball, to the free throw line, we're getting the ball to the rim. We got to be able to score. I don't care if you're 18 or you're 24. You got to score that, because we obviously had them in foul trouble, but we didn't make them pay like we should have.
Matt, what flipped in the last few minutes? They got it down to 3, and then your guys kind of made a push late.
Yeah, I thought we really struggled to contain them. Like, we picked up the ball full court, and they were just taking us in transition, and our guy helping there. Like, our communication at times wasn't great, but more than anything, just our inability to contain the dribble hurt us all night. Across the board, we got to be better from a team standpoint, team defense, and keep the ball out of the paint. When they were in the paint in the first half, they had success, even though we were up 16. They just had zero success when the ball wasn't in there. Then they started making some shots, and they balanced it. But we were able to get stops. You can't go on runs if you don't get stops. And so we were able to get some stops there. Daniel had the block. We kept the ball out. I thought Jakari did some good things. I kept him in there really mainly for defense, to help us, more than anything, just make them score over us. And then we're able to, get in transition and get some easy ones.
Matt, you praised your team's ability to take care of the ball through 2 exhibition games.
Right.
Tonight, you got 2, you can take a shot. I think you had 3 in your first 4 possessions.
Right.
Some of them was, obviously, they're aggressive defensively, but some of them were just careless. Was this maybe a good game to learn from? You get the win, but also
Right.
you overcome a lot of mistakes.
Yeah, no question. We run the same play back to back. We set an illegal screen, you have a turnover, and then we step out of bounds and have a turnover on something that we were just going to run and get a good shot if we just executed the play. And I didn't think our concentration was great. across the board, especially the guys that have played before. I thought Fletch did some good things offensively, but Trey and Braden had 10 turnovers between them. And if we're going to be a great team, we're going to be a team that's going to hover around 10 turnovers. And we just are. I think we have a chance to be a really good offensive team, and we got a long way to go before we can say we're going to be a good defensive team. But we got to keep working, and we got to find the right mix. We got to find the right mix of guys, because that's hard right there. The way I shuffle people in and out, especially the guys on our front line.
Do you think that's just a first game thing, or is there something systemic there with turnovers?
Show up Friday. I don't know. I'm watching it just like you are.
Nate, go ahead.
Matt, you know how you beat without Brian, Waddell, and what was the, final determining factor on not redshirting Raleigh?
Yeah, I feel like we have a good team. Like, this is on the heels of me not feeling great right now, but I feel like we have a really good team. We could grow into a good team. And anytime you have a chance to win your league, and you're just uncertain, like it's really my uncertainty more than anything, because no one's really stepped out, outside of Trey, and like you saw Daniel tonight, but then after that, they've all had good moments, but no one's been that consistent across the board. And he's got some things that the other ones don't. Like, he can play in the post, he can face up and make a shot. But like, as you see tonight, like, I want to play more, and now you're just going to stick with people, especially when the game gets close, right? But that was kind of the reason. And, if he would have been adamant one way or the other, I'd have went that way. He wasn't. He understood, the benefits of redshirting, but he also wants to play. And so we just kind of talked it through and decided, like, hey, we have a good team. And here's the best thing I can say about him, Caleb, Will, like, unless they just take off, like, there's going to be games that we need them, and there's going to be games that we don't. That's just the way it is, right? And like, that's hard to take as a player, right? You want to be able to, like, hey, I'm starting, I play 25 minutes. Hey, I'm our 7th man. I come off the bench, I play about 15 to 17. I know when I sub in or whatever. We don't have that right now. And a lot of times people think that a coach shapes that. I can go shape it if I want, but I'd rather them earn how I shape it, right? Be like, hey man, like, we got to have him in the game. Like, we got to, he helps us in this area, or the right mix of guys. So, but no, he's a good player. Raleigh's a good player, but the other guys are good players. But like, we got to get some consistency there. We got to get moving. And sometimes you don't have it always in the game. That's what's cool about college. Like, take your ass in the gym. Like, get to the film room. Like do whatever you can to help your cause. Like, just, that guy played better than you that game. He's your teammate. You got to love him. You got to do everything to help him. You got to cheer for him. But then you got to kick his ass the next day in practice, because you didn't come here to sit. So you got to have a mentality of winning and helping, but also like, hey, this is my passion, and this is what I work for. And now I'm here. I don't care if you're 18, 19, 20. That's the decision we made. Now he's got to get going, but those other guys got to get going. Now, the whole team's got to get going. Like, I thought we had some casual basketball out there in the second half. And so, like, just because you're first team all league or third team all league, or you played in a Final Four, that shit doesn't matter. It's a new season, and people are coming after you. And but you got to be the ones coming after them. So I thought our opponent was much better than us in the second half, and they did some really good things. So don't just say it's at our expense. Give them the credit.
Nathan, did you have a question about Brian too?
I was just clarifying what Brian being out tonight.
Brian hurt his hand, and so he's not practiced here. He actually hurt it before the last game, and then he played in the game. He hurt it at Creighton, and so then he hasn't practiced here. He had through an MRI. There was a little bit of a break there, so it's kind of going on pain tolerance right now in terms of what he can and can't do. But yeah, there's something there. I don't think it's significant where it's going to be long, but it'll be interesting to see if he goes after tomorrow. Yeah.
Coach, we saw the team really shoot hot from 3, 9 for 13 in the first half, then ice cold 2 of 13 in the second half. What do you think kind of changed there?
Nothing. They were wide open and they missed them. Nothing. And so I thought Braden did a good job. Actually, I thought Miles probably had tougher shots in the first half than he did in the second half. Like this first one he hit on top of the key, a guy was draped on him. He made one right in front of their bench where a guy was on him, and he got in that rhythm. He didn't lift the ball on one of them. One got flat, one got a little long there, but they were good shots. I thought Miles played really well, shot really well, for us. But no, I didn't think anything was really ill-advised. Obviously, Fletch made that one in the corner in the second half. That was a big one for us to get us going a little bit. But I thought easily if we were more consistent catching the basketball and making shots in that second half, Braden would have 20 assists. So it's good for us because it kind of shows other guys like, okay, when they hedge us and they trap us, here's what's going to be available. When they play in a drop, okay, here's what's going to be available. So you can kind of see, sometimes people will shift that, like, why are you trying to do this or why are you trying to do that? Well, I can't coach both teams. It's not practice.
Matt, before the game, you're out there, and I'm sure you're getting ready to start the season. Your head's going a lot of different ways. But when that banner goes up, do you allow yourself 10 seconds to, now that you can see it and there, to appreciate that moment?
Yeah, I did not, no. But I should. But no, it's cool, to be able to see that banner go up there because you walk in this gym a lot and we've had Big Ten banners, right? But we haven't, for a long time, been able to go to a Final Four, so it's cool for our players. But we had a lot of sacrifice, a lot of hard work, an elite player, and so, but we have a lot of guys that helped us get there that are still playing for us. And so I told him afterwards, it's like watching a movie and you've seen it before, but you don't know how it ends. But you saw it before, right? It makes no sense, right? That's how the human brain works. Like you saw it 10 years ago, and then it ends, you're like, oh, okay, yeah. I remember that. You learn to relearn something. It's like reading a book that you haven't read for 20 years, and you're like, man, I forgot about this, and this. And that's the game of basketball for us. Like we got to relearn some things, and that's our returning players. They got to learn to embrace our younger players better. They weren't here when Zach Edey was a freshman. They weren't here to see his struggles. They weren't here when I said throw the ball inside to him and they thought I was crazy, which I am a little bit crazy. I wouldn't be sitting up here. So like it's great, but a new season started, right? Like you got to get to work. Like we're not walking around the mall waving our Final Four banner. We're trying to do something in 2025 here and do something special. But that didn't look special to me out there. It looked like we got a lot of work. And the one thing I'll say this, and I love our guys. I think our guys are good. But I try to be as fair as I can be. But everybody thinks about themselves in the spring and the summer and the fall. And then once that season started, Dean Smith always talked about it. Now you just think about the team. But when you start a season, that's hard, right? Because you worked to play more, or you worked to start. And then when it doesn't happen, now it kind of shows. It kind of shows. And that's where we got to get everybody on the same page. But it takes a village. It takes all of us to be able to understand what we have to sacrifice so we can hang another banner.
Casey and then Brian.
Matt, Trey's journey to redshirt, play on the bench his freshman year, sophomore year, play with Zach. Just his patience to get to this point and team best plus 21 today. Just what he's able to do on the floor and how he's gotten there.
Yeah, he just has to. I think. See, anytime you have talented players like Braden Smith or Fletcher Loyer or Trey Kaufman-Renn, you got to want more from them. Like now you got somebody else that's maybe like a shooter or a little bit limited, and it's like. So for Trey, just being more detail oriented, like the 4 turnovers, like go back and dissect those 4 turnovers and eliminate that, because that's the one thing. Like if we're going to go to you and we're going to get you the basketball and scoring opportunities, like be a make or miss guy. Be a make or miss guy. Like I'm taking mine and I'm going to make or miss, or I'm going to make the right decision and you're going to make or miss. But I used to say that about Zach. I used to call it the right of first refusal. Like he doesn't have to shoot it, but he's got to touch it. So now when Trey gets that basketball in there, like we've signed a contract, you're getting us a good shot. Whether it's yours or your teammates, you're getting us a good shot. And that's what great players do. And I thought tonight he made some really nice plays, he did some good things, but we need him to be better defensively. and we need them not to turn the basketball over. Because when you put the ball in someone's hands like a Braden Smith or a Fletcher Lawyer, or then it's not shot making, it's decision making, because they're all three got good skills. So now if they just make the right decision, it doesn't matter. Like live with the result, because now that's just, I just defined what process based is, right?
Brian, last one.
I know you're a big fan of offensive savvy. Just how much does it matter to have Braden and Fletcher and their ability to kind of
Yeah.
force their way to the foul line in key situations?
Yeah, no question. Like they had like about 3 fouls that they shouldn't have fouled, and those guys were smart enough. And they wedge screens. You can see how they force those turnovers. They wedge screens. So if you hold your screen and just take it, now you're in the bonus. Now you get 2 points. Now you steal 2 points. Fletch has always been great at that. Sometimes he tries to invent something that's not there. But I love it. Like you don't get penalized for being intelligent. You don't get penalized for being tough. You know, if you can have that combination of toughness and intelligence, and you know what's going on, it's really going to pay off, for us. But yeah, those guys are, when they struggle or something happens, that's what frustrates you as a coach, because you've seen them do so many intelligent things and make so many good plays in their careers. So thank you.
Thanks, guys.